And we'd like to welcome you all to our lunch club for today, where for the month of April, again, we are going over mountains in the U.S. and abroad. So today we like to bring things home, and we'll be covering some hidden peaks here in DC. So Lou and seniors, I hope you guys learn a lot. And of course, as always, we're gonna have trivia at the end. So two of you will be winning a fridge magnet today. But Lou, the show is yours, and hope you all learn a lot. Thanks so much for coming on.
Well, thanks again, everybody. And yeah, I'm curious how many of these peaks I've been to. I bet you all are too, because we're not famous for our peaks here in DC. We're famous for a lot of things, but not so much our peaks. So let's see what we got in store for us today. So first off, let's talk a little about the geology and topography of Washington, D.C. It's actually a fascinating area,
Mm-hmm.
geologically and topographically. So let's learn a little bit about it. Let's roll it out.
The Washington, D.C. area is unique in so many different ways, but that also includes geology and topography, all of the things that make up the land and the landscape, and the things that are underneath our feet in the ground and the rocks beneath our feet as well. I'm Storm Team 4 meteorologist and science teacher Ryan Miller. Let's take a look at what are known as the physiographic provinces or regions in the Washington, D.C. area, and we have two that make up most of the DMV. We're standing on what is known as the fall line, actually, right at this point. This is the separation between what is known as the Piedmont, which is off towards the west of DC and makes up part of northwest Washington, and what is known as the coastal plain, which is the area and region east of Washington towards the Chesapeake and the Atlantic Ocean. The fall line, taking a look at this map, as you can see, traverses from southwest up towards the northeast. That's the line showing up on the map, and it's that separation, that difference. Now, what we're going to do is examine the reasons that the coastal plain differs from the Piedmont and how that impacts things like soils and gardening and the rocks that we can find beneath our feet and all of the features that are on the landscape. Let's start with the coastal plain. As I mentioned just a moment ago, we took a few steps back towards the east and we're now in the coastal plain. This is the location on the map that is along and east of I-95, and there are major differences between this and the Piedmont. It starts with the rock, the geology that makes up the coastal plain. These are younger rocks that are influenced and have been influenced by sea levels changing over time, millions of years, and these rocks break down, and the younger they are, and well, you can see here, that influences the type of soil in the coastal plain. In this area, it's a sandy type of soil. Sandy soil, and the closer you get to the ocean, the sandier it becomes, can influence your gardening because water will drain quickly through sandy soil. It dries out, it won't hold nutrients, and you'll have to water. That's why as you drive to places like Rehoboth or Dewey Beach or Ocean City, you start to see more and more irrigation that is used, water that's being applied to the farm fields because that's made up of sandy soil, and they need to supplement water because the water that falls from rain drains right through that sandy soil. So these younger soils here, made up of mostly sand, are comprised of the coastal plain. And one other feature from a landscape perspective, as you get closer to the ocean throughout the coastal plain, you're dealing with less slope, more of a flat landscape relative to the Piedmont, which is up next. We took a few steps west of that fall line. Now we're in the Piedmont physiographic province here of the DMV, and there are some big time differences. Just a few feet literally away from that fall line, you start dealing with different geology. This is rock that's much older than what you would find in the coastal plain. It's actually a quartz outcropping, an igneous rock. As magma millions of years ago cooled off, this is what it formed. And over time, because it's much older, a lot of the soil and the living materials on top of this have worn down to expose this rock. And when it breaks down, it creates soil like you see right here. Very different in the coastal plain. This is a clay-based soil. If you live west of 95, and if you garden or do landscaping, you're familiar with this. This is the soil that makes it very difficult for water to drain through because the particles are so small and stick together. And you have to do things like add organic matter to amend the soil. You also notice the color of the soil. The clay has more of a reddish color as the irons that are in this rock start to break down and rust and give that orange and reddish color to the soil. soil. Last but not least, the landscape of the Piedmont, very different from the coastal plain. A lot more change in elevation and topography. The hills become more rolling. The further west you travel towards the mountains, this becomes more pronounced. One thing to note, taking a look at this map, the fall line, coincidentally, if you'll notice, actually lines up very closely to I-95 and also the railroad that traverses the East Coast from north to south or south to north. That was built, the railroad and 95, along the fall line because it's much easier to build a railroad and a road over level ground, because when you're walking the fall line, you're neither going up or down, you're just moving for the most part at the same elevation. That's a look at the geology and topography of the DMV. I'm meteorologist and science teacher Ryan Miller.
That was amazing. I love that presentation, Alex. Great, nice score on that.
Right, look at this screenshot. Like you can actually see where the line is, and like the I-95, the railroad. That's an amazing distinction.
Yeah, didn't know that. That's really look how it follows that almost exactly.
This guy is really interesting.
Isn't he?
He's a very interesting person. He can liven up a party, and he works at Channel 4.
Mm-hmm.
And he
Oh.
also is a teacher. And he is got a wealth of information and stuff in his head that's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Was that Ann talking? Was that you, Ann?
Yes, that's me, baby.
Coming from Ann, that's quite a compliment. You are a professional DC guide saying that.
No, I'm not. I don't say that. But I'm gonna tell you, it paid for them certificates that I got that job. So I learned a lot, and I learned to listen, and especially when you work with young people in other programs. He is one of the people that you really want to have explain stuff to you.
Nice,
Thank you so much.
nice.
And anyone else have any thoughts on the video?
Are there gardeners on the call? Like, tell me about your soil where you live.
Right, that we just we just had Chenlin on yesterday, and it makes much sense about the differences in the lands based on what part of DC you're in. Any thoughts from anyone?
Well, I've had to put in soil, bring in soil for the garden, and feed it, because this was built on where trees. The River Terrace was built where there was a lot of trees, and
So-
Indians had a reservation in this area. And you can be digging and come up with some arrows and points.
Really? Wow.
Pottery. Yeah, when they built River Terrace School, they had to stop and have that excavated.
Oh my God. So are you in the coastal plain then, Ann?
I'm over off of the Potomac River and East Capitol Street and 295.
It's the coastal plain. The majority.
Okay.
Of DC
I didn't know if
the-
that was coastal plain or not, but that
If you look at the picture, most of DC is in the coastal plain, but it's
Oh.
these leftmost parts that are in the Piedmont. So you see the stark difference between but we're mostly in the coastal plain just based on the picture that I see here.
So is your soil sandy where you all, most of you are at when you're gardening? Is it sandy soil?
Mine isn't sandy. Martha Stewart says the soil makes all the difference when you're trying to grow stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now
Yeah.
I live in Silver Spring, and when I dig down 6 inches, I'm in orange clay, solid orange clay.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Oh my
Like the
gosh.
video-
Yeah.
I
like the
make
video
bricks out of
mentioned.
that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Wow. So like the video said, that's what happened to you as well.
Dense
That's
orange clay goes down forever. I never hit the bottom of it.
Mm.
Yeah, you make bricks out of it.
Oh, okay.
I'm glad you guys enjoyed that video. I learned a lot as well.
All right. So why is DC shaped the way it is? Well, I never knew that myself. Why is that weird diamond thing? Let's play it, Alex.
It's a capital carved out of two different states, a
Mhm.
town at the center of a government that doesn't represent them, and a diverse, multicultural city known for its unusually high number of geriatric white dudes in power. What is Washington, D.C., if not the land of contradictions? Even its shape seems contradictory. It is, unlike the natural sprawl of most cities, almost a perfect square until it disappears into the Potomac River. But why is DC a perfect square, and where did the rest of it go? Our story begins the same way the musical Hamilton begins if you snuck in during intermission, with the Constitution, specifically the convention that ratified it in 1789. There are many vexing questions that they needed to answer with not a lot of time on their hands. How many votes did states get in national elections? How did congressmen get elected? Are women real people, or are they just kind of fun decorative objects that you can put in your house? But in between these important matters was the issue of the capital. After bouncing between Philadelphia, Trenton, Annapolis, and New York City for sessions of Congress, they wisely deduced that sending every member of Congress up and down the East Coast was ultimately going to be at odds with Amtrak's plan to never offer cheap train tickets ever in history, so they decided to establish one permanent capital city to meet in instead. Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution states that the nation's capital must be created as a district that encircles the city, which can't be bigger than 100 square miles or 259 square kilometers, and that land must be ceded by one or more states to create it. Representatives had landed on 2 potential sites in Pennsylvania, one near Philadelphia and one in Lancaster, presumably to capitalize on the untapped Amish labor market for building all those rotundas. The problem was, the convention's southern delegates resented having the nation's capital in a state they considered the North, especially because Alexander Hamilton had been harassing southern states to pay back their Revolutionary War debts at the convention, even though the southern states insisted that they totally were good for it and to just chill out, man. Things weren't looking good, so Hamilton thought up a good compromise that would appease everyone in the moment and annoy everyone in the long term. Known as the Compromise of 1790, the capital would be established in the South in exchange for southern states indirectly paying off the war debts of northern states. George Washington suggested the unoccupied parts of Maryland and Virginia on the Potomac River as a good compromise because neither the North or South really wanted it. And what better place to put the nation's capital than a piece of land nobody wants? At the convention, Virginia and Maryland agreed to donate those lands to the US government in a perfect diamond shape that looked like this. DC became established as the required 100 square mile or 259 square kilometer, square that included the cities of Alexandria and Arlington within its borders. Roughly 60% of the city would be located in Maryland and 40% in Virginia. By 1800, the move was complete, and DC kept the same shape for 50 years until changed by America's third favorite pastime, racism. Trouble started brewing on the Virginia side in the 20s, with Alexandria experiencing quite an economic decline because the city, much like climate change or members of Congress's children, was neglected by members of Congress. DC still didn't have its own set of laws, which meant that Virginia laws governed the Virginia half and Maryland laws governed the Maryland half, which, from an urban planning perspective and also from a regular perspective, seems bad in one city, let alone the nation's capital. Plus, both states' laws were frozen in 1801, with 0 DC citizens having any political representation, either in Congress or in a special local government. And the feds' ignorance of the consequences of their actions proved to be their downfall. The district's 5 jurisdictions, which included Alexandria City, Arlington County, Georgetown, Washington City, and Washington County, didn't agree on how to sort out this negligence, so they each took different courses of action. As Lincoln would say 10 years later, a house divided cannot stand. Alexandria City and Arlington County became disillusioned by being part of DC because the federal government had decreed that buildings could only be constructed north of the Potomac, which effectively shut Alexandria out of having any new construction or industry. Meanwhile, DC East was thriving. This meant Alexandria relied on a brilliant economic development tool called enslaving people, and they were worried the United States might, for some reason, decide that wasn't cool anymore. So they wanted to rejoin Virginia to keep slavery legal. Although it took 10 years, Alexandria voted to petition the state of Virginia to take back the land it had donated to DC, which is known as retrogression, and seems familiar. And despite the fact that leaving DC would increase taxes by $20,000 each year, a majority of residents made the classic American decision that they liked racism more than money and voted to leave the district. Both Virginia and surprisingly Congress approved the retrocession in 1846, probably because they were too busy trying to keep the United States, united, and didn't care if some whiny racist babies wanted to be reabsorbed into Virginia as long as they were still part of the Union, which meant that no part of Virginia was part of DC anymore. Since then, the metro area has expanded exponentially, but DC itself has stayed the same size, this weird half square, half squiggle, because Maryland won't donate any more land to the district, and Virginia hasn't budged on giving back the land they pledged and then took from the city. And even if the feds wanted to expand DC's borders, which they don't, they'd have to pass it through Congress, which they couldn't even if they wanted to, thanks to the 109th word in this video. And whether you live in the nation's wonky capital or the lost city of El Dorado, just existing in the year 2022 means you're probably pretty busy.
I hope y'all enjoyed that whimsical video, but it really did a good job in a few minutes to show why DC is shaped like that. Lou, any thoughts? And then seniors, any thoughts on the video? But
I didn't know any of that. That was really good.
it all had to do with us, with Civil War and oh my goodness.
Yeah, I didn't know any of that.
I got a glimpse of it, well, in DC history back in high school, but I learned a lot. But we used to be Maryland and Virginia, but I'm happy we're our own entity.
So where is the Reagan Airport, DCA Airport? Don't they call that DC? But I know it's in the other side of the Potomac.
No, they just call it a Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport, but it's in Crystal City, Virginia.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
it's on land that used to belong to the district.
Mm-hmm.
It's on part of the land that used to be part of Washington D.C.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
I just Googled it. It says Arlington. It's in
Yeah,
Arlington,
it's
Virginia.
it's right there in
Mm-hmm.
Crystal City.
Mm-hmm.
Not too far from Alexandria, so
All right. Well, I didn't go to school in DC, so I wasn't trained in any of that history, but that was really interesting. I had no idea of any of that.
And any other thoughts? Again, we got 20 folks on. I'd love to hear from you guys. Any thoughts on the video? Anything new that you learned? But the Article 1, Section 8, the DC can be more than 100 square miles. That just, again, brought back a memory. So that was interesting.
The whole war debt thing too, the Civil War debt. So they moved it. So what was the story? They moved it south because the South didn't want it way up north. And then they
Mm,
put it in land they thought nobody wanted.
yeah.
So I think
'Cause
I
we
think
were
a
a
lot of it was swampland, right? It was like
Yeah,
some
GTA
serious swamp.
we're built on a swamp.
So that
So,
makes sense.
mm-hmm.
And then of course Anacostia River and then Potomac coming together. That was like pure swamp. Haynes Point is still a swamp.
Yeah, yeah. So
Uh,
I hope the two videos made sense, with the fault line and then how that actually even came to be. So I thought the two pieces stuck together pretty well. So Lou, we're actually going to go in order from lowest to highest. So I hope you know some of these names.
oh, oh my gosh, this is all new to me. Pulpit Rock. What the heck?
Anyone know where this is? Just real quickly. Anyone know where Pulpit Rock is?
It looks like it's on Rock Creek. It's somewhere on Rock Creek. Is that
Yeah,
right?
you got it, Lou.
Rock Creek Park. Okay, good.
Yep, Rock Creek Park. So check out this link. So we're gonna read through it. So this is, yep, Park Views, Theodore Roosevelt Side Trail, and Pulpit Rock. So Lou, this is what it looks like, and take it away.
Great. Okay. Oh, I didn't know this. Teddy Roosevelt loved to hike. I knew that. The Rock Creek Park was his favorite place to do it while president. We're taking a look at one of his favorite spots, and the trail that leads there bears his name in another installment of Park Views. Let's head down the Theodore Roosevelt side of the trail and see what we find. Okay, so I've never been to this place.
Mm-hmm.
What are
And
Pulpit Rock?
again, it's 68 meters. So this is the first one.
And look, what's that little rock thing to the right of it? It looks like some kind. Was that an old dam or something? Maybe that's
Yeah.
why they call it Pulpit Rock.
Yeah.
Okay, so Pulpit Rock is a rock formation on Rock Creek Park in Washington, D.C., best known as one of Theodore Roosevelt's favorite spots to hike while president. Roosevelt was a famous outdoorsman and conservationist, and during his time in Washington from 1901 to 1909, he particularly enjoyed the nearly 2,000 acres of Rock Creek Park. Even more than 100 years later, his reputation as a hiker persists. The National Park Service referred to Roosevelt's place as grueling, all part of his commitment to what he called strenuous life. While we can now take moderate to strenuous trail to the top of Pulpit Rock, Roosevelt and his contemporaries took a more challenging route. Ah,
So that's what it looks like.
interesting.
This photo shows.
I don't see any. Is there someone in there? On the right side, I see it.
Yep.
Photo shows Roosevelt and his party climbing straight up the face of the rock. While that's not possible today, you'll certainly be able to appreciate the feat. Wow.
Can you
If you
believe he
look over
climbed
the
this?
edge.
Look at this. Look, this is amazing. He climbed a tall rock. Like this is so
Oh,
dangerous.
wow.
It's how did he do it?
Has anybody been there? I have no idea where this is. I've never seen that.
Yeah, Pulpit Rock. So look, yep, where are they located? So they actually include it. So
So
it's on the
let's,
northeast side of the intersection at Blagden Avenue and Beach Drive Northwest. It runs northeast on a hillside along Rock Creek before taking a 90-degree turn southeast that ascends to Pulpit Rock. So yeah, there's Upshur Street, there's Taylor Street, so there's 16th Street right there. And then there's the side trail that we're talking about, and then zooming in, there's Pulpit Rock. So that's the highest
so
peak.
that's Rock Creek Parkway right along it, right? You should be able to see it from Rock Creek Parkway. I biked it 100 times. I've never seen that rock.
Yeah. So there's only one way.
There's only one way to experience the trail, and that's on your own 2 feet. Oh, from the trailhead of Blagden Avenue and Beach Drive, look for a clearly marked sign noting roughly 0.2-mile distance to Pulpit Rock. For those driving, the closest parking is located approximately 22 miles south of the intersection along Beach Drive. And you may also be able to find street parking further up Blagden Avenue, but be aware of parking rules and time restrictions. The area is not easily accessible via public transit. The best way to take the S bus, which runs along 16th Street, to the L bus on Connecticut Avenue. So hiking the Roosevelt side of Pulpit Rock trail video.
Yeah. So here's
Look at that.
here's the video. I think it'll explain this part right here.
Yeah, let's do it.
Look how high it is. Yep. So those living uptown, you're just a walk or a few blocks away from visiting Pulpit Rock if you like. Any thoughts from the seniors on this 68-meter elevated place? Any thoughts?
I'm with Lou. I've been all through Rock Creek Park. I've never seen it.
You haven't?
I've been on the Billy Goat Trail and some other those Great Fall trails, and I ain't seen nothing like that.
Mhm.
It's beautiful up in there. You have to realize that the East Coast and around DC was a lot of Indians, and a lot of this is stuff that is still unstructured that they managed to preserve.
Mhm.
Yeah, I wouldn't even try to go over there. I'd be too scared. I might get bit by a snake.
Oh,
Well,
Don't be scared. It's very accessible for many, but I know it's beautiful right now in the spring and summertime. So make sure you all check it out.
Well, I can't do any hiking anymore, so I have
Oh,
to remember stuff that I remember from when I was young enough to do all that.
oh, well, you know, put your best foot forward, okay?
Yeah.
Well, here goes our second one. You guys, Mount Alto, 107 meters.
Another
Have you
place I never heard of.
anyone heard of Mount Alto before?
Yeah, I have.
I haven't.
Okay, anyone else? Again, we got about 25 folks in the call. Anyone else know what Mount Alto is? Okay, so I guess we're going to learn a lot today. So we have a couple of links. So this is, I just shared the first link here in the chat for you all, but this is Mount Alto, so Glover Park history. So this is Mount Alto in 1880. So you guys are looking at a 150-year-old picture right here. Take it away, Lou.
Wow, that's an interesting building. So the elegant villa erected by B.F. Hunt on Boris Hill is nearly complete. Benjamin F. Hunt has erected a fine residence on Pole Hill where he can doubtlessly keep cool in this warm weather, as it is perhaps the highest ground in the district and commands a fine panoramic view of the surrounding city. The editor of the Georgetown Courier was evidently confident that his readers knew the hill in question, the highest point in the municipal boundaries of the city of Georgetown, also went by the name Red Hill, but the name of this parcel of land and of the house Mr. Hunt built there was Mount Alto. Benjamin F. Hunt, a beef butcher, and his wife Martha were Virginians. Their 5 children were born in D.C. starting in 1857. Their household also included Hunt's brother-in-law, James Huffman, a butcher who was in partnership with Hunt, as well as 2 other butchers, an Irish maid, a black hostler to take care of the animals, William Hoffman, a carpenter who was building Hunt, who was building Hunt his 9-room frame house. This is not a summer house. Hunt, who had meat stands in several city markets, lived there year round and slaughtered animals in the slaughterhouse at the back of the property, overlooking Tunlaw Road. Hunt died in 1875 and his heirs put the property on the market. The buyer was Amzi Lorenzo Barber, a Howard University professor whose early involvement in the development of Detroit Park was the first step to become the leading asphalt producer in the United States. Wow. Barber sat on his investment until 1901. Well, now that looks interesting, Alex.
Isn't it amazing all the, the Tunlaw Road, LaDroit Park, all these areas uptown. So
So is
um
that in Georgetown? Was that where I'm gathering this? Somewhere in Georgetown?
George, Glover Park. Well, they say, Georgetown area, but Glover Park, Upper Georgetown, Georgetown Heights, so that area of DC.
Yeah, Tunlaw Road is near the cathedral.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's up in
that
that
area.
area.
Is that house still there?
He sure did have a lot of people living in there.
He did. So we'll get to what happens to the house because it's quite an amazing journey. Um, so just going back, yep, looky here. Barber may have been inspired to action by having played a part in the plan for the National Cathedral.
Oh, which
So isn't that
improved the
amazing?
value of every property in the vicinity. Oh, I didn't know that. Huh.
Yeah,
The National Cathedral is not that old, is it? Or how old is it? I don't even know.
yeah, in the plan. So this is late 1800s, early 1900s. So yes, we're actually gonna be talking about the cathedral later on as well. But it says here, the deed, et cetera, a corporation, all that part of the tract of land known as Mount St. Albans, part of Pretty Prospect and Lucky Discovery tracts is filled in the office of the Recorder of Deeds for DC. The price for the property was 245,000. So that was back in 1898. Can you believe?
That's a lot of money
That is a lot of money.
back then. That's like many millions of dollars today.
But look what happened. Barber died before any of the plans took place, and in 1915, his widow sold Mount Alto to Charles Francis Wood.
Interesting.
So this is the last 3 paragraphs. So start off construction.
Construction began the following year on a permanent home for a school for young women founded a dozen years before the Mary Arlene Zurist. By Charles Francis Wood was the architect. His prior commission had included the cadet barracks at West Point and the officers' quarters at Annapolis. Planning was on a grand scale, and the description of a 12-acre campus with 6 tennis courts appears to have led some to picture an exclusive girls' school. Actually, it was a trade school, and its name and newspaper advertisements made clear National School of Domestic Arts, practical classes in cooking, sewing, and tailoring. Although courses in music, language, and elocution were to be added in the new location, home economics would still have been the school's strong suit. A degree in household engineering equipped its bearers to go out and teach on their own. The National School of Domestic Arts and Sciences was not a success. The 1919 city directory shows the school sharing its new campus with the short-lived Mount Alto Inn and the Veterans Hospital number 32. By 1920, the government had owned everything. The school and the inn had closed, and only the hospital remained. Hard
Mm.
times.
So look, yeah. So, but look at the address, Lou. That's a block away from the old.
What?
Oh
Look at
yeah,
that. It's our old
17th
office
Yeah,
location. It's
yeah,
a
right,
block
right,
away.
right there. So
It's not even a block. It's next door.
yeah, so look here, Mount Alto was moved to the southern edge of the property to make way for construction for that school. Lowered, stripped of its front steps, shutters, porches, and balustrades, it served as the residence of the hospital director and survived into the 60s.
Wow.
So again, another piece of almost 100-year-old history right here. Um,
I feel bad. There's a lot of sites in DC that I wish I knew that they were there because they got torn down or they collapsed, while I was in town. I bet you all feel that too. Like that house right there is torn. Was that still around in the 60s?
mm. Yeah, yeah, please share any thoughts. But look here, Mount Alto's Veterans Hospital. So look, the hospital
Ooh,
remained,
look at
right?
the size of that place. Get
So
out of here.
so here it is, Mount Alto Veterans Hospital. Only the hospital remained.
So is that still there?
So we'll see. We'll see. So this one's a bit shorter, so with lots of pictures. So here it goes. Mount Alto Veterans Hospital between 1930 and 67, a beautiful facility.
Look at that. That's enormous.
So here he goes, Lou.
So the 1919 city directory shows the National Schools Domestic Arts and Science sharing the address of the Mount Alto Inn with a public health service facility called Veterans Hospital 32. A year later, only the hospital remained. The government leased the property in 1990 and purchased it in 1920. From the beginning, the facility was inadequate.
Mm. Yeah, look, just real quick, there was they purchased for 460,000. They were seeking money to extend it. Cramped quarters of the nurses is outstanding defects. They were forced in many instances to sleep in the hospital instead of separate dorms. Wow. So there was quite a few things going on. Uh, Here's Mrs. J.D. Oliphant. So that name's kind of rings about Oliphant. president of the Women's Auxiliary of the American Legion at Mount Alto Hospital, May 10th, 1925.
Look at that.
Here's another picture. Still
What?
consisted of 6 communal residences in a horseshoe configuration.
So wait a minute, let's look at this picture. So you're talking about that is near where our office is, used to be? So I wonder where M Street is. That look how rural it was back then.
Yeah, that's how it, that's how it looked. But this is what
Look at that.
let me, if I
That
zoom
is that
in,
is so rural. Is there anything any
look at the horseshoe. Look at the horseshoe right here of the residences.
Yeah, look at that. So is that M Street right there? It's got to be M Street that's running diagonal there. You see that? It's got to be M Street.
Let's see. Here's another picture of it in 1931. They
Wow.
added a new building, a main building in 1930. So even though it took them some years to get themselves together. But this is DC in 1931.
What are those high rises? Those are gone.
I know, right? Because there's a rule about high rises here in DC. Look at this. A plan, a real estate atlas, and this is 1960. So it says 1300 right here, but that could be any different ones.
So what are these rules? Unlaw. Let's scroll down a little bit. What's that? Was that M Street? Oh, it's cut off. Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, but look, it says Carillon House Apartments, U.S. Veterans Administration Facility, Sherry Hall, Bellevue. I think that's what it says. Mm.
Yeah, none of that rings a bell. Although I bet that could be M Street. Look at those little strip houses there. That's like right along
Yeah,
M.
because you see it says 1800, right? So that's like that it could be 1800, then it says 1900. So yeah,
So yeah.
because 17th from M, 18th from M. So look, here's Mount Alto Hospital, 1965, just to the right of the Carillon House, so 2500 Wisconsin Avenue. The old Hunt House can be seen, which had been moved from its former location at the crest of the hill. So Carillon House, that was in the thing before, right? The picture before that we just seen.
Yep.
Yeah, 2500 Wisconsin. So that's Glover Park. So if you think Georgetown, yeah, it's Calvert Street. So this is where right now it looks like a kind of a rec area, but it says Guy Mason Rec Center. It's on Wisconsin Avenue uptown, so not too far from Georgetown. Here goes. Here's another one, Lou.
In 1965, the remaining patients of Mount Alto Hospital were moved to Soldiers Home. In 1967, the buildings were razed, and it was announced that the government of the Soviet Union had agreed to locate a new embassy in the Chancery in the site of the former hospital. At the same time, the United States approved a new site for its embassy expansion in Moscow. Oh my gosh, look at that. They tore it down.
Original communal residences. Wow. So yeah, Mount Alto Veterans Hospital. And then, but look at here. This is the original one. So this is actually from a Facebook post right here. So here, read the caption right here on the right, Lou.
Sure, the original VA hospital in Washington, D.C., known as Mount Alto, officially opened 96 years ago in 1919, is a public health service hospital number 32 in the former National School of Domestic Arts and Sciences building on Wisconsin Avenue. After the Irving Street location opened 50 years ago, the Russian embassy bought the old Mount Alto site, and today it remains at that location.
Mm. So you see the three-piece history here, everyone? Does anything jump out to you? I hope you guys enjoyed.
This is all new to me.
New to me too.
Yeah.
I'm
Well, I
I'm
had
going.
heard of some of the history because my uncle John was old as dirt when I was little. He lived down there in Georgetown, and they had like little shacks, and they actually had outhouses back there.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah. Wow.
so this is part of property that I always wondered what they were talking about. I never knew the name of it, but they used to talk about it where the school used to be, but I didn't
Hmm.
realize that it was called Mount Alto.
Mount Alto.
Mount Alto. Mm-hmm.
I'm learning a lot as well. I'm so happy
Yeah,
to hear
I'm
you
learning
guys
a
are
lot too.
too.
I just Googled the Russian embassy, and I could see the streets that it was on. Uh, the layout is actually pretty similar. It is off of Wisconsin Avenue
Yeah,
by the
same.
Naval Observatory.
Yeah.
Yeah, they moved it very, it's now at 2650, so it's basically been at the same place ever since.
Mm-hmm.
So that was our third highest. Well, there's some other points in DC, but that was our third highest today. Our second highest, have you guys ever heard of Mount St. Alban?
Well, I heard of St. Albans School, so it must be up
Uh,
there by that school.
yeah. You got it, Geraldine. So yes, the first one was 68 meters high. Mount Alto is 107 meters high, and now Mount St. Alban is 118 meters high. Hope you guys learn a lot.
It's the Holy Week.
This video was from 3 years ago, so pretty recent. This is Mount St. Alban's highest point.
Wow. St. Albans. St. Albans Church. And then the cathedral is just behind. So what a wonderful features. From the Holy Land has a cross. Peace cross. From this tiny little hill, we are looking at the Capitol just over there. Isn't
Mm-hmm.
that beautiful? So here I am, Washington Cathedral, just here. I walked from Rosslyn in Virginia across to DC. You can see the Capitol building just there. White dome.
Not an amazing spot, so yeah.
Just there. The Peace Cross standing here with the flag of the nation, of the land, the new land. The flag of the new land. Wonderful place to be here. Wonderful day. Bright and shiny sun. Beautiful green. The life is blossoming again for the new season to begin. It's us individually can also begin our journey with a peaceful step inward before we step outward for a peaceful world.
That skyline is amazing, right, you all?
Yes, it is.
It is.
See the whole city.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Now, Alex, I just did some side research, and it says that Fort Reno is the highest point in DC.
I know the video is a little, well, I know what that you kind of spoiled us, Lou, but yes, that is definitely the case. So here's a bit about Mount St. Albans right here.
So the parish church of St. Albans Church was erected on Mount St. Alban in 1854 using a bequest from young women, Phoebe Norse, who earned money sewing. St. Albans was on St. Albans went on to found 5 mission churches in Washington, 4 of which still maintain active congregations on their own. The Washington National Cathedral, a cathedral of the Episcopal Church in Washington, D.C., is located next to the parish church, which preceded the laying of the cathedral's cornerstone by 53 years. St. Albans School for Boys, which is affiliated with and was established in 1909, soon after the construction of the cathedral began. It is also named for the saint.
Isn't that amazing? It's still that
Yes.
school is still in existence to this day.
Still
Well,
in
that's
existence, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yes.
knew Washington Cathedral was high up because you can see it from just about
Oh, yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah. Hope you guys learned a lot or get to check out this beautiful skyline and take a picture. We'd love to see it, okay?
Okay.
All right, you
Okay.
got
Oh,
and
Fort Reno. Oh,
yeah,
this is
our
Oh,
last
I
our
spoiled
last
it. I spoiled
today.
it. Oh, I spoiled it.
Take a look at this. So this is what you'll actually see. So if
Wow, I
I
want to
zoom
go
in,
there.
yep, if I zoom in, look what it says.
National
409
Park
feet.
Service.
Yeah.
409 feet. That is amazing.
Highest point, and yeah, in DC right here. So all about Fort Reno.
Mm.
They have this article here, but I have this video too. But it's quite amazing. I also have this video too. It is the highest point of DC. It's 130 meters high. Isn't that huge?
Mm.
Let's check them out.
Today we are on the rooftop of the District of Columbia
I love this video. We're gonna be taking that trip along with them.
At Fort Reno Park.
That's not Fort Reno Park.
Hi, I'm Scott Marthelli. Welcome to Rooftops of America. Today we have something slightly different in store for you. We're going high pointing via subway. One of the unique features of Point Reno is it's the only high point you can take the subway to. Most of the elevation we're going to gain is on the escalator right here. Once you get outside, the high point is just a short hike away. Point Reno, while small in stature, is intriguing in several other ways. It's one of the more urbane high points you will find in the U.S. It also has a lot of history associated with this area. Point Reno can be found in the northwest section of D.C., near the Tenleytown neighborhood. The park and the point get their name from Major General Jesse Reno, who was killed in the American Civil War at the Battle of South Mountain. This area was home to the largest fort in the Washington, D.C. defenses. After the war, it served as a free town for former slaves. In the 20th century, during the Cold War, this area served in a continuity of government role, with the location housing a communications array. Nowadays, in addition to being a national park, it is also the home for one of DC's reservoirs. Behind me is the summit, Point Reno. Now if you look over to my right, you'll notice the reservoir here is actually higher. But since the reservoir is man-made, that doesn't count. So here's the survey benchmark for Point Reno, the highest natural point in the District of Columbia. It comes in at 409 feet, which, since DC is not yet a state, makes this the 49th and a half highest state high point in the United States. I'm Scott Marthaler, and I want to say thank you very much for joining me on another episode of Rooftops of America. We'll see you soon.
So yeah, here are some fun facts like the longitude and latitude, the location. I quite like this sign right here. I just wanted to go back to it. The Civil War defenses of Washington, Fort Reno. The site of this fort was selected in August 1861. First called Fort Pennsylvania, the fort was located at an elevation of 430 feet, commanding three important roads which entered the city from the northwest in the vicinity of what is now Wisconsin and Nebraska Avenue Northwest.
That's fascinating. Hey, Alex, a little bit of trivia. But what is the highest point where you can actually stand in the District of Columbia? Natural and man-made. What is the highest point you can stand?
Not sure. That's a good question, Lou.
I just researched it in the background.
Yeah.
It's sort of obvious, actually.
It's not Fort Reno.
No.
It's the Washington Monument.
Washington Monument, yeah.
I was thinking that was too easy. That's
Too easy.
Oh yeah. He said it was so obvious.
Oh, but yeah, that's some highlighted peaks here in DC. I learned a lot. I didn't know about most of these or just heard some tidbits. So I hope you all enjoyed.
Yeah, that was enjoyable.
Was that Ron Thompson who just chimed in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey Ron, how's the calls going? I heard you're back online.
All is well. All is well, Lou.
I hear you're back on the air.
Yeah, we've had a
Good,
couple of good Monday sessions.
All right.
So thank you all so much for joining, and we're going to go and get started with trivia. We're a little over, but it's okay because we learned quite a bit. So we're going to be doing some general DC trivia today, so not too much on mountains. So get your DC caps on, and if you'd like to answer one of these questions, please raise your hand in Zoom. So really quickly, let's practice raising your hands. You can hit reactions at the bottom, and then you can click on raise hand, okay? So if you'd like to answer one of the questions, I'll do 3 answers for each question, and we'll see who is right at the end. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead. I thank you so much for your hands. I see we have about 3, 4 hands. Again, if you'd like to be in the running for a prize, make sure you answer and see if you can get some of these right. The more you get right, the more chances of winning. So thanks so much. You all can lower your hands, please. Thank you so much. And let's get started with our trivia. So hope you guys learn a lot. So I did get these questions randomly. So out of the 10 there, I chose 6 or 5 at random. So again, good luck to all. So our first one is number 1. If you draw a line south from the White House and another line west from the Capitol building, the 2 lines will intersect very close to a famous landmark. Which one? Is it the Pentagon, Lincoln Memorial, Jefferson Memorial, or Washington Monument? If you draw a line south from the White House and another line west from the Capitol building, where do they intersect? Again, I'll take the first 3 hands. Any takers? Some of these can be a little easier, some a little harder. What do you think? Okay. Again, please raise your hand. I'll take 3 answers for this one. Okay, we got 1 hand. Again, also to make an educated guess as well. But yeah, 2 hands, we'll take 1 more hand. Again, which one? All right, thanks so much. We got Ms. Doris first. What do you say? Okay, make sure you hit unmute in the middle. Ms. Doris, which one do you say?
Lincoln Memorial.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, yep. Our next one is Miss Celeste. Which one do you think? Miss Celeste, which one do you think? Make sure you hit unmute in the middle, please. Okay, Brenda, what do you say?
Well, I'm a guess. I don't know. I'm gonna say Monument, Washington Monument.
Okay, thanks so much. I appreciate that. Okay, well, I don't see any other hands, so we'll go with those two. But again, I'll take up to 3 answers for each question. So again, looking for a lot of participation. Our next question is number 4. Okay, the White House is the official residence of the president, first family. What is the address of the White House? 1000 New York Ave, 1600 Pennsylvania Ave, 1300 Virginia Ave, or 2000 Mass Ave? Okay, I see your hands, you guys. First 3 hands. We got Yvonne first. What do you say?
1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Okay, we got Ms. Brenda next.
I agree. 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, Northwest.
Yeah, and then and then Miss Celeste. What do you say?
I said 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. I agree.
Okay, thanks so much, you guys. And we'll go on to our next question, which is number 6. So again, we'll see all the answers at the end. Number 6. Washington, D.C. is surrounded by Maryland and Virginia. Which jurisdiction does not border Washington, D.C.? So does not border. Is it Arlington County, Montgomery County, Maryland, Prince George's County, Maryland, or Prince William County, Virginia? Which jurisdiction does not border D.C.? Take the first 3 hands. Thank you. I got 3 hands. We got Geraldine first. What do you say?
I say Montgomery. Well, wait a minute. That might not be right. But okay, since I said it, but I don't think it's right. I'll say Montgomery.
Okay. Thank you so much. We're just making sure with time. I just love your answer. Thank you so much. Yvonne, what do you say?
I say Prince William County.
Okay. Thank you so much. And then Miss Cassandra, what do you say? Make sure
I say Prince William County.
Okay. Thanks so much, Cassandra. I appreciate you guys doing great job. So again, we'll see at the end. Thank you so much. 2 more, you guys. 2 more. You got this. Which interstate highway helps to form the famous Washington Beltway? Interstate 58, 76, 95, or 34? Okay, we got 3 hands. You guys are quick. What do you say, Miss Celeste? Again, you got to hit unmute in the middle.
I say Interstate 95.
Okay, thanks so much. Appreciate it. All right, Yvonne, what do you say?
Interstate 95.
Okay, all right, and then Miss Doris, what do you say?
Can you repeat the question?
Thank you.
What is your answer, Miss Doris?
Can you repeat the question? The nurse is talking to me. I didn't hear the question.
It's right here, number 9. Which interstate highway helps to form the famous Washington Beltway? And these are the 4 answers: 58, 76, 95, or 34.
I'll say Innocent 95.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Doris. I appreciate it. Okay, all right. Those were 3. We got 1 more. So 1 more question. So last chances for any answers, okay? Washington, D.C. does not have an airport within its borders. Which airport lies closest to D.C.? Dulles, Union, BWI, or Ronald Reagan? Oh my goodness, you guys are fast. What do you say, Mr. Ronald?
Ronald Reagan Airport.
Okay, thanks so much. All right, Ms. Geraldine, what do you say?
Ronald Reagan Airport.
Okay, all right. And then we got Bridget. Thank you so much.
Ronald Reagan National Airport.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, you guys. Well, let's see who got what. And again, thanks so much for participating, everyone. You guys, I heard a lot of voices, so I'm so happy for that. Give me one moment. I'm going to go ahead and go over our answers, just making sure that I'm ready for our wheel. So first up, we had number 1. So that was the intersection question. So the answer is the Washington Monument. So Brenda, you got that one. It began in 1848, but not finished until 88. It was halted for 20 years. Designed by Robert Mills, it stands 555 feet tall and is the tallest stone structure without steel support in the world. It was briefly the tallest structure until the Eiffel Tower was completed. It's called an obelisk. So yeah, Lou, Washington Monument, 555 feet tall. You could be that feet tall up in the air. So good job, Brenda. I love that trivia also talked about what you shared, so thanks so much. Thanks. Thank you for your patience, you all. Our next one was number 4, the White House, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, designed by James Hoban. It was completed in 1800, but there was damage during the War of 1812. It was repaired. During Roosevelt, that's when the White House name became official. But there one point was a putting green, a swimming pool, and a bowling alley at the White House. So congrats again, Yvonne, Brenda, and Miss Celeste for getting that one. Next one was number 6. So the answer is Prince William County does not border DC. So let's see who got that one. We got Miss Yvonne who got that one. Good job. And Miss Cassandra, yes. Congratulations on that one. Let's see. Thank you so much for your patience, you all, so we can make sure everyone has a chance, those that answered correctly. Prince William County lies about 20 miles south of DC and includes Manassas, Virginia. All of the other parts, as you can see, are listed there as well. Number 9. Which interstate highway helps to form, Interstate 95. So all of you guys got that one correct. So again, good job to Miss Celeste, Miss Vaughn, and Miss Doris for getting that one. 95 runs from Maine to Florida. It does not travel through DC itself, but instead skirts nearby Prince George's County. Oh, wow. Okay. And our last question for today was, which airport lies closest? And you all got that one right. So good job. Ronald Reagan Washington National Airports. It's in nearby Arlington, Virginia. So good job. I know that's right, you all. So Mr. Thompson, Miss Geraldine, and Miss Bridget got that one correct. So congrats, you guys. I know you guys were paying attention because you guys did so amazing as always for the trivia. So thank you so much. All right, so without further ado, we have a lot of names today. So let's see who our 2 winners are. Our first winner is a close one, Miss Celeste. Congratulations.
Yay,
Congratulations, Miss Celeste. Thank you so much.
Yay.
And then our second winner for today is, looks to be Miss Yvonne. I know
Yay,
that's right.
Yvonne. Congratulations. Yay.
Congratulations, Miss Celeste and Miss Yvonne. You both won a Wildtech fridge magnet from us. Congratulations. Thanks so much for hopping on, you guys. And Lou, what did you learn from the trivia? Anything new?
I don't think there's anything that I knew. Everything was new. I think just about everything on there was new. Although I did know that the Washington Monument was an intersection. That's the only thing I knew. The whole thing.
Yes, congratulations, Yvonne and Miss Celeste.
Thank
Thanks so
you.
much for joining us today. And we hope you enjoyed. Till next time, well, let's wish Lou safe travels and
Yes.
but the next time he's with us, he'll be in another country. So let's wish him safe travels I'll be starting the 1:30 soon, but I hope you enjoyed today. And thank you, Lou, for presenting. It was a wonderful session today.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Alex.
Yeah,
Great
safe
presentation.
travels, Lou.
Thanks,
bless you,
everybody.
Lou.
Thank you, Lou.
I'll take pictures. I'll send pictures into Alex, and maybe he can forward to everybody.
Safe travels,
Okay,
Lou.
very good.
Take me with
so
you,
much.
Lou.
Ah, yeah.
Thank you so much for today.
Thank
Thank you.
I want to go. Take me with you, Lou.
I don't want you moving to my territory there. I'm going with my wife.
Safe travels, Lou. Have a great rest of your day.
Have a good one, Lou. I
Yeah.
saw your buddy in your lap.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, it's my cat. Yeah, Nala.
yeah. Safe travels, Lou. Have a good
All
day.
right. Bye,
Take
everybody.
care, officers. Have a good
Take
time.
care,
Have a good time.
Everyone. See you, everybody. See you,
Enjoy.
Brandon. See you.
Bye-bye.
See everybody.
So much.
Bye.